Dr. Sarah Chen wiped her sweaty palms on her uniform as she walked through the massive crystal corridors of the HFY Royal Palace. The walls sparkled like diamonds, and strange blue light flowed through them like water. She had never seen anything so beautiful and scary at the same time. "Why did they call me here?" Sarah whispered to herself. She was just a simple human doctor who studied alien biology. 3 days ago, she was on her research ship, looking at space plants. Now she was walking toward the throne room of the most powerful alien queen in the galaxy. The HFY guards towered over her. They looked like living crystals shaped into humanoid forms, their bodies reflecting rainbow colors as they moved. Each guard was at least 8 feet tall, and their faces showed no emotion. Sarah felt very small walking between them. Commander Torres, her human superior, had given her the strangest orders of her career. The HFY Queen specifically asked, "For you, Chen, not our best diplomat, not our senior doctors. We don't know why, but this could change everything between humans and the HFY Empire." Sarah's mind raced with possibilities. The HFY ruled 3 star systems and had technology that seemed like magic to humans. They were advanced, cold, and logical. They barely tolerated humans, calling them chaotic primitives who had only recently learned to travel between stars. The throne room doors opened with a sound like singing crystal. Sarah stepped inside and gasped. The room was enormous, with a ceiling that stretched so high it disappeared into glowing mist. Thousands of crystal formations hung from above, each one humming with a different musical note. The floor was smooth as mirror, and Sarah could see her reflection staring back at her with wide, nervous eyes. At the center of the room sat the HFY Queen, on a throne made of pure white crystal. Queen Veltara was magnificent and terrifying. Her body was like a living sculpture made of blue-green crystal, with patterns of light flowing beneath her transparent skin. The eyes were like 2 bright stars, and when she looked at Sarah, it felt like she was seeing straight into her soul. But something was wrong. The queen's usual perfect posture was broken. Her shoulders were bent forward, and the light patterns under her skin flickered like a broken machine. Sarah had studied HFY body language, and she could see that the queen was in great emotional pain. Dr. Sarah Chen of Earth, the queen's voice filled the entire room, speaking through a translator device that made her words sound like music. "You have come." Sarah tried to remember the proper greeting protocol. She bowed deeply, her hands shaking. "Your Majesty, I am honored by your invitation. How may I serve?" The queen stood up from her throne, and Sarah was amazed to see that she was trembling. This was the ruler of billions of beings, a queen who commanded fleets of starships and controlled planets. But right now she looked like a mother in pain. "Dr. Chen," the queen said, walking down from her throne. Each step made a soft chiming sound. "I have called you here because I am desperate. My daughter is dying, and no one in the galaxy can help her." Sarah's mouth fell open. The queen's daughter? Princess Zerakai was famous throughout the galaxy as the most brilliant young mind of her generation. She was being prepared to rule the HFY Empire someday. "Your Majesty," Sarah said carefully, "I am deeply sorry to hear about the princess. But surely your own doctors, with all their advanced technology, have failed," the queen interrupted. "My best healers, the greatest minds from 12 different species, the most advanced medical technology in the galaxy, all have failed. My daughter grows weaker every day." The queen stopped directly in front of Sarah. Up close, Sarah could see that the queen's crystal skin was cracked in places like she had been under terrible stress. The light patterns beneath her skin were chaotic and dim. "Dr. Chen," the queen said, and then something incredible happened. The mighty queen of the HFY Empire knelt down in front of Sarah. The sound of her crystal knees hitting the floor echoed through the throne room like a bell. "Please," the queen whispered. "Only you can help my daughter." Sarah stared at the kneeling queen, completely speechless. Her brain couldn't process what was happening. Why would the most powerful being in the galaxy kneel before a human? Why? Would she think that Sarah, of all people, could help when the galaxy's greatest doctors had failed? "Your Majesty," Sarah finally managed to say, I don't understand. I'm just a human xenobiologist. I study how different alien species work, but I'm not a doctor who treats diseases. Compared to your people's knowledge, I'm practically a beginner. The queen looked up at Sarah with eyes that seemed to hold the light of dying stars. That is exactly why I need you, Dr. Chen. You see, my daughter's condition is not a disease. It is something that no one in the galaxy has ever seen before, something that our ordered, logical minds cannot understand. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. What do you mean? The queen stood up slowly, her crystal form catching the light. Dr. Chen, are you aware that every known intelligent species in the galaxy shares remarkably similar brain structures? The Vexhi, the Zephyrians, the Cortac, the Metallic Hive. We all think in very similar ways. Ordered, logical, efficient. Yes, Sarah nodded. It's one of the great mysteries of xenobiology. Why are all alien species so similar in their thinking patterns? All species except one, the queen said quietly. Humans. Sarah's heart started beating faster. What does that have to do with your daughter? The queen walked to a large crystal window that showed the view of her capital city. Millions of crystal buildings sparkled in the alien sunlight, perfectly arranged in geometric patterns. My daughter's brain is changing, Dr. Chen. It is developing neural pathways that should not exist. Chaotic patterns that make no sense to our healers. Patterns that look disturbingly familiar. Familiar how? Sarah asked, though she was beginning to guess the answer. The queen turned back to Sarah, and her voice was filled with both hope and fear. They look like human brain patterns, Dr. Chen. My daughter's mind is becoming more like yours, and it is killing her. Our medical systems are trying to correct what they see as dangerous chaos. But what if it's not chaos at all? What if it's evolution? Sarah felt the weight of the entire galaxy settling on her shoulders. The queen was right. This was beyond anything she had ever imagined. But looking at the desperate alien mother in front of her, Sarah knew she had to try. Your Majesty, Sarah said, her voice stronger now. I'll need to see the princess and study her condition. I can't promise anything, but I'll do everything in my power to help. The queen's crystal form seemed to brighten slightly. Thank you, Dr. Chen. You may be my daughter's only hope, as Sarah followed the queen toward the medical wing of the palace. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was about to discover something that would change the galaxy forever. Dr. Sarah Chen followed Queen Veltara through the palace's medical wing, her heart beating fast with nervousness. The hallways here were different from the throne room. Instead of beautiful crystal decorations, everything was clean and white, like a hospital. Strange machines hummed quietly in the walls, and Sarah could see alien doctors rushing around with worried expressions. Dr. Chen, the queen said as they walked, I must warn you, what you are about to see may shock you. Daughter's condition is ... disturbing. Sarah nodded, trying to look braver than she felt. I understand, Your Majesty. I've studied many alien diseases before. The queen stopped walking and turned to face Sarah. This is not a disease, Dr. Chen. That is what makes it so frightening. They entered a large medical room filled with the most advanced equipment Sarah had ever seen. Crystal computers displayed complex data in floating holographic screens. Machines that looked like they were made of liquid metal moved around the room, scanning and analyzing everything. In the center of it all was a medical bed that seemed to be carved from a single piece of blue crystal.
Ow.
On the bed lay Princess Zarakai. Sarah gasped when she saw her. The princess was beautiful in the way that all Vexhi were beautiful, like a living work of art made from crystal and light. But something was terribly wrong. Her crystal skin was flickering between different colors: blue, green, red, purple, like a broken rainbow. The light patterns under her skin were moving in wild, chaotic swirls, instead of the smooth, ordered patterns that Sarah had learned were normal for Vexhi. Princess, the queen said softly, approaching the bed, I have brought the human doctor. The princess opened her eyes, and Sarah was shocked to see that they were no longer the steady, bright stars of a normal Vexhi. Instead, they were constantly changing, shifting between different colors and intensities. When the princess looked at Sarah, her expression was confused and frightened. Mother, the princess said, her voice weak and shaky. I can't. Think straight. Everything is so loud and chaotic in my head. I feel like I'm going crazy. Sarah stepped closer to the bed, her scientific mind immediately starting to work. Princess, my name is Dr. Sarah Chen. Can you tell me what you're experiencing? The princess tried to sit up, but her body trembled with the effort. It's like my thoughts are breaking apart and coming back together in new ways. To think in clear, logical patterns. Now my mind jumps from idea to idea without any order. I have strange dreams, and I imagine things that don't make sense. Dr. Kethfer, the chief Vexi physician, approached them. He was an older Vexi with deep blue crystal skin and patterns of silver light. Dr. Chen, we have tried everything. Look at these readings. He gestured to the holographic displays around them. Sarah studied the data, and her eyes widened. The princess's brain scans looked completely abnormal compared to what she knew about Vexi neurology. These neural pathways, Sarah said, pointing to the chaotic patterns on the screen, they're not following any logical structure? Exactly, Dr. Kethfer said, his voice frustrated. A normal Vexi brain works like a perfect crystal lattice. Every thought follows clear, efficient pathways. But look at this. He pointed to the princess's brain scan. Random connections, circular patterns, redundant pathways. It's like her brain is becoming defective. Sarah stared at the scans, and, slowly, a terrible understanding began to form in her mind. Dr. Kethfer, may I see a scan of a normal human brain? The alien doctor looked confused. Why would you want to see that? Please, Sarah said urgently. It's important. Dr. Kethfer reluctantly brought up a human brain scan on another display. Sarah compared it to the princess's current brain patterns, and her heart nearly stopped. The similarities were unmistakable. Oh my God, Sarah whispered. What is it? The queen asked, seeing Sarah's shocked expression. Sarah turned to face the room full of alien doctors. You're all trying to cure her of becoming human. Silence filled the room. Dr. Kethfer looked at Sarah like she had said something offensive. Dr. Chen, that is impossible. The princess is Vexi. She cannot become human. Look at the scans, Sarah said, pointing to both displays. The princess's brain is developing the same kind of neural pathways that humans have naturally. That random connections, the circular patterns, the redundant pathways, that's not defective. That's how human brains work. The queen stepped forward, her crystal form trembling. Are you saying that my daughter is ... evolving? I think she is, Sarah said, her voice growing stronger as she understood more. But here's what I don't understand. Dr. Kethfer, you said that every intelligent species in the galaxy has similar brain structures. All ordered, logical, efficient. Why are humans different? Dr. Kethfer looked uncomfortable. It has always been assumed that humans are simply less evolved. Your chaotic thinking patterns were seen as primitive. Sarah felt a surge of anger. What if we're not less evolved? What if we're the only ones who evolve naturally? What do you mean? The princess asked from her bed, her voice weak but curious. Sarah began pacing the room, her mind racing. Think about it. Every species in the galaxy thinks the same way except humans. The mathematical probability of that happening naturally is almost zero. Unless... Unless what? The queen demanded. Unless someone made it that way, Sarah said quietly. What if long ago some ancient race modified every species they found to think like them? Ordered, logical, efficient? What if they changed everyone's brains to match their own? The room erupted in shocked voices. Several alien doctors began arguing, saying that such a thing was impossible. But Dr. Kethfer was staring at the brain scans with a new understanding in his eyes. The precursors, he whispered. Everyone turned to look at him. What? The queen asked. The precursors, Dr. Kethfer repeated. Ancient legends speak of a race that came before all others. They were said to have seeded the galaxy with intelligent life. But the stories say they disappeared mysteriously. Sarah's eyes widened. What if they didn't just seed the galaxy with life? What if they modified every species to think like them? Humans were missed because Earth was too far away or too isolated. The princess suddenly sat up in her bed, her eyes bright with understanding. Then I'm not sick. I'm becoming what? My people were supposed to be before the precursors changed us. Dr. Kethfer looked horrified. But if that's true, then our entire medical system is wrong. We've been suppressing natural evolution for thousands of years. Not just medical, Sarah said grimly. Your entire civilization is built on the idea that ordered thinking is superior. What happens when people start thinking chaotically, creatively, unpredictably? The queen looked at her daughter, then at Sarah. Dr. Chen, if you are right, then stopping this process could be destroying something precious. But if we let it continue, she might die, Sarah finished. The transition is too violent. Her brain can't handle changing so quickly. Can you help her? The princess asked, looking directly at Sarah. Can you help me become what I'm supposed to be? Sarah took a deep breath. I can try. But it will mean going against everything. Your doctors believe. It will mean treating chaos as natural, instead of something to be cured. Dr. Kethfer stepped forward. Dr. Chen, if you are wrong, the princess will die. And if I'm right, Sarah said, she'll be the first of her kind to be truly free. The queen looked at her daughter, then at Sarah. What do you need? Sarah smiled grimly. I need to study human medicine, Vex high neurology, and ancient history all at the same time. And I need doctors who are willing to think like humans instead of like Vex high. That sounds chaotic, Dr. Kethfer said. Exactly, Sarah replied. That's the point. As Sarah began planning the most unconventional medical treatment in galactic history, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to discover something that would change everything. The princess wasn't just fighting for her life. She was fighting for the right to be naturally, chaotically, beautifully alive. 3 days after Sarah's shocking discovery, news of her theory spread throughout the Vexi medical community like wildfire. Sarah sat in a small conference room in the palace, surrounded by angry alien doctors who looked ready to throw her out of the nearest airlock. This is madness, shouted Dr. Velmoth, a senior physician from the Galactic Medical Consortium. His red crystal skin was glowing bright with anger. A primitive human comes here and tells us that our entire understanding of medicine is wrong, impossible. Sarah tried to stay calm, but her hands were shaking. Dr. Velmoth, please look at the evidence. The princess's brain patterns clearly show nothing but chaos. Dr. Velmoth interrupted. And that is exactly what we must cure. Order brings health. Chaos brings death. This has been known for thousands of years. Dr. Kethfer, who had been quietly supporting Sarah, stepped forward. But what if we have been wrong? What if this chaos is natural? Then you have been infected. By human thinking, said Dr. Zaranel, a cold-looking physician from the metallic hive species. Her metal skin reflected the room's lights as she spoke. The human has contaminated your logical processes. This is exactly why humans should not be involved in advanced medicine. Sarah felt her anger rising. Contaminated. Dr. Zaranel, I'm trying to save the princess's life. By destroying her mind, Dr. Zaranel replied smoothly. The treatments we have developed will restore the princess's neural pathways to their proper, ordered state. Your chaotic human methods will only make her condition worse. Queen Veltara, who had been listening silently, finally spoke. Dr. Zaranel, your treatments have been failing for weeks. My daughter grows weaker every day under your care. Temporary setbacks, Dr. Velmoth said quickly. We have developed a new neural restructuring procedure that will force the princess's brain back into proper patterns. It is aggressive, but it will work. Sarah's blood ran cold. Neural restructuring? You're talking about erasing parts of her brain? We are talking about removing the damaged, chaotic sections, Dr. Zaranel said. It is the only way to save her. That's not saving her, Sarah said, standing up. That's destroying who she's becoming. You're talking about performing a lobotomy on a conscious, evolving being? The room erupted in angry voices. Half the doctors supported the neural restructuring, while the other half began to have doubts. In the chaos, Sarah noticed something important. Dr. Kethfer was not alone. Several younger Vexi doctors were looking at her with curiosity instead of anger. "Enough," the Queen commanded, her voice filling the room like thunder. "I will not have my daughter's life decided by arguments. Dr. Chen, what do you propose?" Sarah took a deep breath. "I propose that we stop fighting the princess's evolution and start helping it. Instead of trying to force her brain back into ordered patterns, we guide it through the chaos. We help her become what she's meant to be." Dr. Velmuth laughed harshly. "How exactly would you do that? You know nothing about Vex-High neurology." "But I know about human neurology," Sarah replied. "And I know about working with chaos instead of against it. I need time to study, and I need doctors who are willing to think differently." "This is our final decision," Dr. Zaranel announced. "The medical consortium will proceed with neural restructuring tomorrow. The humans' primitive theories are too dangerous to test on someone as important as the princess." The Queen's crystal form grew bright with rage. "You dare tell me what will be done to my daughter?" "Your Majesty," Dr. Velmuth said carefully, "the medical consortium has authority over all medical decisions in the galaxy. Even royal families must follow our protocols." Sarah watched in horror as the politics of the situation became clear. The medical consortium wasn't just disagreeing with her. They were taking control of the princess's treatment away from her own mother. That night, Sarah couldn't sleep. She paced her guest quarters, thinking about the princess lying in her medical bed, getting weaker while the doctors prepared to erase parts of her evolving mind. It was wrong, and Sarah knew it. A soft chime at her door interrupted her thoughts. She opened it to find Dr. Kethfer standing in the hallway looking nervous. "Dr. Chen, may I come in?" Sarah let him enter and was surprised to see 3 other vexed high doctors following him. They all looked young and uncertain. "Dr. Kethfer, what's going on?" The older doctor sat down heavily. "Dr. Chen, I have been thinking about what you said, about the precursors, about natural evolution. I looked up old medical records going back hundreds of years. And I found cases," Dr. Kethver said quietly. "Cases like the princess's. Beings developing chaotic neural patterns. They were all treated with neural restructuring. They all died within a few years afterward." Sarah felt sick. "They were killed by the cure." "It appears so," said Dr. Relka, one of the younger doctors. "We also found records of cases that were never treated. Beings who were allowed to keep their chaotic thinking patterns. Normal lives, but they were labeled as mentally defective."
"Dr. Chen,"
said Dr. Morville, another young physician, "we want to help you. But if the medical consortium finds out, we will lose our licenses. We could be banned from practicing medicine. Forever." Sarah looked at the group of alien doctors who were willing to risk everything to help her. "Are you sure about this?" Dr. Kethfer nodded. "The princess is not just my patient. She is the future of our people. If we let the consortium erase her mind, we will never know what she could have become." "Then we work in secret," Sarah said. "We develop the treatment using human methods, but we do it quietly. Can you get me access to the princess without the consortium knowing?" "The night shift has fewer guards," Dr. Relka said. "And I know some nurses who are asking questions about the consortium's methods." Sarah felt a surge of hope. "What about equipment? I'll need to study the princess's brain patterns in detail." "I have access to the research labs," Dr. Morville said. "Can work there after hours." Dr. Kethfer looked at his colleagues, then at Sarah. "Dr. Chen, we are about to go against the most powerful medical organization in the galaxy. Are you certain your methods will work?" Sarah thought about the princess, lying in her bed with her mind changing and growing, while the doctors prepared to cut away the parts that made her unique. "Dr. Kethfer, I can't promise success, but I can promise that we'll be fighting for her right to become who she's meant to be." "Then we begin tonight," Dr. Kethfer said. As the group began planning their secret research, Sarah felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. She wasn't just fighting to save one patient anymore. She was fighting against an entire system that had been suppressing natural evolution for thousands of years. The next few days would be crucial. The medical consortium was preparing their neural restructuring procedure, and Sarah had to develop a working treatment before they could destroy the princess's evolving mind. She had a small team of rebel doctors, limited time, and the entire galactic medical establishment against her. But she also had something that the consortium didn't have: the willingness to embrace chaos, see it as beautiful instead of dangerous. In the coming battle for the princess's mind, that chaotic human thinking might be the only thing that could save her. The war for the future of galactic medicine had begun, and Sarah was ready to fight. Time was running out. Sarah worked frantically in the secret research lab, surrounded by Dr. Kethver and his team of rebel doctors. They had only 6 hours before the medical consortium would begin their neural restructuring procedure on Princess. Zarakai, Dr. Chen, are you certain this will work? Dr. Relka asked nervously as she watched Sarah connect strange human medical devices to Vex-High equipment. Sarah wiped sweat from her forehead. I'm not certain of anything, Dr. Relka, but I know that what the consortium wants to do is wrong. For the past 3 days, Sarah had been studying the princess's brain patterns and comparing them to human neural development. What she discovered amazed her. The princess wasn't just randomly developing chaotic thinking, she was going through the same stages that human children experienced. When their brains developed creativity and imagination. Look at this, Sarah said, pointing to the holographic display. A human child's brain goes through periods of rapid neural growth, where new connections form faster than the brain can organize them. It looks chaotic, but it's actually the brain learning to think in new ways. Dr. Morvell studied the data. So the princess is essentially growing a human-like brain, but at an accelerated rate? Exactly, Sarah said. And that's why it's so dangerous. Human brains take years to develop these patterns naturally. The princess is trying to do it in weeks. Her mind can't handle the stress. Dr. Kethver looked worried. Then how do we help her? Sarah took a deep breath. We need to slow down the process and guide it. Instead of letting her brain change randomly, we help it develop in the right direction. But to do that, I need to connect my mind to hers. The room fell silent. Connect your mind? Dr. Relka asked. That's impossible. Not impossible, Sarah said, gesturing to a strange device she had been building. Dangerous, but not impossible. I've modified a Vex-High consciousness sharing device with human neural mapping technology. Should allow me to share my thought patterns with the princess while she's going through the transition. Dr. Kethver looked horrified. Dr. Chen, consciousness sharing with a different species has never been attempted. You could lose your mind, or worse. The princess is dying, Sarah said firmly. Her neural patterns are becoming more chaotic. Every hour. If we don't do something soon, her brain will overload and shut down completely. Dr. Morvell checked his scanner. The consortium doctors are already preparing the surgery room. They'll start the neural restructuring in 5 hours. Sarah looked at her small team of rebel doctors. Are you with me? They all nodded, though. She could see fear in their crystal features. Then let's save a princess. An hour later, they had secretly moved the princess to the research lab. She was unconscious, her crystal skin flickering between colors so rapidly it was hard to look. At her, the light patterns under her skin were like a storm of electricity. Her neural activity is off the charts, Dr. Relka reported. She's having some kind of mental seizure. Sarah quickly attached the consciousness-sharing device to both her own head and the princess's. The device looked like a crown made of thin metal wires and glowing crystals. She could feel a strange tingling sensation as it activated. Dr. Chen, Dr. Kethver said urgently, once you connect with her mind, we won't be able to help you. You'll be on your own in there. Sarah nodded. I understand. Just monitor our vital signs and try to keep us alive. She activated the device. And suddenly, the world exploded into chaos. Sarah's consciousness was pulled into the princess's mind, like being sucked into a whirlpool. Everything was noise and color and sensation. She could feel the princess's thoughts crashing into each other like waves in a storm. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Princess. Sarah called out with her mind. Can you hear me? Who? Who is there? The princess's mental voice was weak and confused. Everything is so loud, ... I can't think. Sarah focused. Her thoughts, trying to create a calm space in the mental chaos. It's Dr. Chen. I'm here to help you. You're not going crazy. You're evolving. Evolving. The princess's confusion was like a cold wind in Sarah's mind. No, but the doctor said I was sick. ... You're not sick, Sarah said firmly. You're becoming what your people were meant to be before someone changed you. But the process is happening. Too fast. I'm here to help you control it. Sarah began to share her own memories with the princess. She showed her what it was like to think creatively, to have random ideas that led to amazing discoveries, to imagine things that didn't exist yet. She showed her the beauty of chaos. This is wonderful, the princess whispered in her mind. I can see so many possibilities, so many ways to think about problems. Yes, Sarah said, but you need to learn to control it. Watch how I organize my chaotic thoughts. Sarah demonstrated how human minds worked, how they could think randomly and creatively, but also focus when needed. She showed the princess how to build mental walls between different ideas, how to explore creative thoughts without being overwhelmed by them. As they worked together, Sarah began to experience the princess's memories. She saw the rigid, ordered world of the Vex High. From the inside, she felt what it was like to think in perfect, logical patterns where every thought followed strict rules. It was efficient, but it was also cold and limiting. No wonder you're fighting this, Sarah said. Your mind is trying to break free from thousands of years of artificial limitations. But it hurts, the princess said. The chaos is so overwhelming. That's because you're trying to control it the way your people control everything else, Sarah explained. You can't force chaos into order. You have to learn to dance with it. Sarah began teaching the princess human techniques for managing creative thinking. She showed her how to use meditation to calm her mind, how to let ideas flow without judgment, how to explore different possibilities without getting lost in them. Slowly, the princess began to understand. The storm in her mind started to calm as she learned to work with the chaos instead of fighting it. I can feel it, the princess said with wonder. The chaos is becoming ... organized chaos. Can think in new ways, but still control my thoughts. That's it, Sarah said proudly. You're learning to think like a human while still being Vex High. You're becoming something new. But as the princess stabilized, Sarah began to feel strange. The consciousness sharing was affecting her too. She could feel her own neural patterns changing, becoming more ordered like the princess's original structure, but also more chaotic as she absorbed the princess's new way of thinking. Dr. Chen, the princess said with concern, something is happening to you too? Sarah realized what was occurring. Consciousness sharing wasn't just one way. She helped the princess develop human-like thinking. The princess was helping her develop new neural pathways too. She was becoming the first human-alien hybrid consciousness. It's okay, Sarah said, though she felt scared. We're both evolving. Hours passed as they worked together in the shared mental space. Sarah taught the princess everything she could about human creativity, imagination, and flexible thinking. In return, the princess shared her people's advanced logical processes and perfect memory techniques. When they finally disconnected from the device, both of them had changed forever. The princess opened her eyes, and Sarah was amazed to see that they were no longer the chaotic, flickering lights from before. They were steady and bright, but with a warm, creative glow that no Vex High had ever had. How do you feel? Dr. Kethfer asked anxiously. The princess sat up slowly, her crystal skin now glowing with stable, beautiful patterns. I feel ... complete. Like I was missing part of myself my whole life, and now I've found it. Sarah smiled, though she felt dizzy and strange. The treatment worked. She's stable. Dr. Chen, Dr. Relka said with concern, your neural patterns have changed too. Your reading is part human, part Vex High. Sarah nodded. I knew it was a risk, but it was worth it. The princess looked at Sarah with gratitude and something else, a deep understanding that only they shared. Dr. Chen, you didn't just save my life. You helped me become who I was always meant to be. Outside the lab, alarms began to sound. The medical consortium had discovered their secret treatment. They're coming, Dr. Morvell said urgently. Looked at the princess, who was now fully awake and alert. Are you ready to face them? The princess smiled, a warm, creative expression that no Vex High had ever made before. I'm ready to show them what evolution looks like. The real battle was just beginning. The doors to the research lab burst open with a crash. Dr. Velmuth stormed in with a team of medical consortium security guards, their faces dark with anger. Behind them came Dr. Zaranel and a dozen other senior physicians from across the galaxy. Stop this illegal procedure immediately, Dr. Velmuth shouted, pointing at Sarah and the princess. You are all under arrest for medical malpractice and endangering royal life. Princess Zarakai stood up from the medical bed, her movements smooth and confident. Her crystal skin glowed with stable, beautiful patterns that shifted between the ordered designs of traditional Vex High and new creative swirls that had never been seen before. I am perfectly fine, Dr. Velmuth, the princess said, her voice calm, but carrying a new warmth that surprised everyone in the room. In fact, I have never felt better in my life. Dr. Zaranel stepped forward, her metal scanner beeping as she examined the princess. Impossible. Your neural patterns are completely chaotic. You should be dead or insane. The princess smiled, a genuinely happy expression that looked strange on a Vex High face. I am neither dead nor insane, Dr. Zaranel. I am evolved. Queen Veltara entered the room behind the consortium doctors, her crystal form radiating relief. Enjoy. My daughter, you're alive. More than alive, mother, the princess said, embracing the queen. I am truly awake for the first time in my life. Dr. Velmuth pulled out a neural restraint device. Princess, you are clearly suffering from severe mental damage. We must proceed with immediate neural restructuring to save your life. No, the princess said firmly, stepping away from him. I refuse your treatment. You are not capable of making medical decisions in your current state, Dr. Zaranel declared. The chaos in your brain has clearly affected your judgment. Sarah, still dizzy from the consciousness sharing, stood up to face the consortium doctors.
Oh.
The princess is thinking more clearly than she ever has. Your ordered thinking is the real limitation. Dr. Velmuth turned on Sarah with fury. You have destroyed the mind of the future ruler of the Vexi Empire. Your primitive human medicine has contaminated one of the galaxy's greatest minds. I haven't destroyed anything, Sarah said, her voice growing stronger. I've helped her become what she was always meant to be. The princess stepped forward, and something amazing happened. As she began to speak, her words carried a new kind of authority, not the cold, commanding presence of traditional Vex High royalty, but something warmer and more inspiring. Dr. Velmuth, Dr. Zaranel, all of you, the princess said, addressing the consortium doctors. You speak of order and efficiency as if they are the only ways to think. But look what I can do now. The princess approached one of the holographic displays, showing a complex medical problem that had puzzled doctors for months. In seconds, she began solving it, but not in the rigid, step-by-step way that Vexi normally approached problems. Instead, she made creative leaps, connected seemingly unrelated ideas, found a solution that was both elegant and completely unexpected. This is impossible, Dr. Zaranel whispered, staring at the solution. No one could solve that problem so quickly. I couldn't solve it before, the princess admitted. When I thought only in ordered patterns, I could only see obvious connections. Now I can see possibilities that were always there but hidden. Dr. Kethver stepped forward proudly. Honored colleagues, what we have witnessed here is not the destruction of a mind, but its liberation. The princess has not lost her Vexi abilities. She has gained human abilities in addition to them. This is dangerous thinking, Dr. Velmuth declared. If this chaos spreads to other minds, it will destroy the order that our civilization is built on. Queen Veltara moved to stand beside her daughter. Perhaps it is time for our civilization to change. The room fell silent. The queen's words carried the weight of absolute authority, but more than that, they carried the conviction of a mother who had nearly lost her child to medical ignorance. Your Majesty, Dr. Zaranel said carefully, you cannot be serious. Thousands of years of medical science cannot be wrong. Can't it? Sarah asked, stepping into the conversation. Dr. Zaranel, What if I told you that this isn't the first time this has happened? Dr. Kethver found records of other cases like the princesses, beings who developed chaotic thinking naturally but were cured by neural restructuring. They all died within a few years. Dr. Relka, who had been quietly working at a computer terminal, suddenly spoke up. Dr. Chen is right. I've been accessing historical medical records from across the galaxy. There are hundreds of cases dating back centuries. Spontaneous neural evolution, always treated as a disease, always ending in death after successful treatment. You're lying, Dr. Velmuth said, but his voice lacked conviction. See for yourself, Dr. Relka said, projecting the data onto the room's displays. Case after case appeared, showing the same pattern: chaotic neural development, aggressive. Treatment to restore order, apparent success, followed by mental decline and death. Dr. Morvell added his own findings. I also found records of untreated cases, beings who were allowed to keep their chaotic thinking. They were labeled as mentally defective, but they lived normal lives. Some even showed exceptional creativity and problem-solving abilities. The princess walked over to Dr. Zaranel, her new way of moving graceful and confident. Doctor, may I ask you something? In all your years of practice, have you ever had a truly new idea? Have you ever solved a problem in a way that surprised? You, Dr. Zaranel, looked uncomfortable. Medical practice requires precision and adherence to proven methods. That's not what I asked, the princess said gently. Have you ever experienced the joy of discovering something completely unexpected? For a moment, Dr. Zaranel's metal features softened, and Sarah could see a flicker of something almost like longing in her eyes. Once, when I was very young, I had an idea for a new surgical technique. But my supervisors told me it was too chaotic, too risky. What happened to that idea? The princess asked. I abandoned it, of course. It was illogical. The princess smiled sadly. What if it wasn't illogical? What if it was just creative? Dr. Zaranel stared at the princess, and Sarah could see the first cracks forming in her rigid thinking. Chaos leads to mistakes. Order prevents errors. Order prevents errors, Sarah agreed, but it also prevents discoveries. Princess, show them what else you can do. The princess approached another display. This one showing a galactic medical emergency that had been puzzling doctors for weeks. A plague affecting multiple species that seemed to resist all known treatments. The princess studied it for a moment, then began working. What she did next amazed everyone in the room. She didn't just solve the medical problem, she solved it in 3 different ways. Each approach using a combination of ordered Vexi logic and chaotic human creativity. Her solutions were not only effective, but revolutionary. Incredible, Dr. Kethver whispered. She's thinking like multiple species at once. Dr. Velmuth looked at the solutions, his anger gradually replaced by amazement. This actually works. All 3 approaches would work. Dr. Velmuth, the princess, said kindly, what if the choice isn't between order and chaos? What if the best thinking combines both? Slowly, one by one, the consortium doctors began to understand. They were seeing proof that chaotic thinking wasn't dangerous. It was powerful. The princess hadn't lost her ability to think logically. She had gained the ability to think creatively as well. Dr. Zaranel was the last to accept it.
It
is true, she said quietly. Then we have been suppressing evolution for millennia. We have been preventing our species from reaching their full potential. Yes, Sarah said simply. But it's not too late to change. Queen Veltara stepped forward, her voice carrying across the room with royal authority. I hereby declare that the medical consortium's methods are to be reviewed and reformed. My daughter will not undergo neural restructuring. Instead, she will help develop new treatments that embrace neural diversity rather than suppress it. The princess looked at Sarah with gratitude. Dr. Chen, will you help us? Will you teach our doctors how to think like humans? Sarah smiled, feeling the new neural patterns in her own brain. Part human, part vexed high. Something entirely new. I'll do better than that, princess. I'll help you teach the galaxy that diversity of thought is not something to fear, but something to celebrate. 6 months later, Sarah stood before the Galactic Medical Assembly, giving a speech that would change the course of galactic civilization. Behind her sat Princess Zerakai, now fully recovered and serving as the galaxy's first ambassador of neural diversity. Today, Sarah said to the assembled representatives of dozens of species, we begin a new era. An era where being different is not seen as being defective, where chaos and order work together to create something better than either could achieve alone. In the audience, she could see Dr. Kethver, Dr. Relka, and Dr. Morvell, now leading the Reformed Medical Council. Even Dr. Zaranel was there, working on developing new treatments that celebrated rather than suppressed neural diversity. But most importantly, Sarah could see the faces of young beings from across the galaxy. Students who would grow up in a universe where thinking differently was not just accepted but encouraged,